Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Question of the morning is the tandem of Jaxson Hayes and Jusuf Nurkić good enough at center? We're all caught up in Summer League. There's a game tonight, and it's Boozer and it's Peterson, the Grizzlies and the Jazz, so it's a great matchup of the second and third picks in the draft. Plenty to see at the Huntsman Center tonight, or you can watch it on TV if you don't go. But we get through the hors d'oeuvres to get to the real season, PK. With Kessler gone, this is the pairing now, Nurkić and Jaxson Hayes. And is it good enough? And there is there's a fair amount of angst over this.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Brad's okay with it. Center by committee. It's the way the Celtics have made deep playoff runs and won championships. Okay. Yeah, it was center by committee, but was there committee higher-end guys?
Well, they won, so that's all that matters.
Okay. Well, when you look at it like that, that whole trophy and parade makes everything okay.
Yes. It does, really. It does.
Yeah. The difference between Kessler and Hayes, roughly 27. The offensive, this is a partial sentence. The offensive difference between Kessler and Hayes and the roughly 27 million difference, as a Jazz man, I'm good with it. Though he's okay with the bargain shopping. Knows they gave up a little something, but they also saved a ton of cash. Vernon, you guys are forgetting we can play JJJ at center too. I really think Triple J will start at center along with Markin and Bailey, DP, and Key. Yeah, I really don't think that'll happen, Vernon. I think you're right that he'll play there. He will get some minutes.
Well, that's a question of how many. So if he got 20, then obviously you'd be asking those other two to divide 28 in whichever way Will Hardy decides to divide them, right? And there's things that are going to happen that we can't forecast. And I don't even think that he can, because you don't know how it's going to be. And Jaxson Hayes, still, you get these guys that are playing 6-7 years in the league, and they're 25 years old. And it's kind of crazy. So, maybe in this role that he can be better suited because he doesn't have to do a whole lot. You're not counting on him to be significant, but you are counting on him to provide a skill set that you desperately need. Every team needs it. And can he do that? If he doesn't get any offense, probably not going to be that big of a deal. But if he comes in, and let's just go 15 apiece, Nurkić, and so that gets you 30, and then they ham and egg it with Jaren Jackson, whatever they do for the other 18, right? In those minutes, can both of those guys be more effective? Now, the thing with Nurkić, he's older, and we have a much bigger body of evidence with him to know that he is not a shot blocker. And Jaxson Hayes is a little springier, bouncier, as they say, and has a long body. Can he do that? Can he help him that? Can he get better than what he's been? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll find that out. But, yeah, I have a level of concern. I do think that if I'm going to have the cliche by committee, that's probably the position I want it at. Because the other positions, if you're good enough at the other positions, we've seen teams overcome that by not being particularly strong at center, but having a Hartenstein or a Steven Adams. He's been hurt a lot in recent years, but Steven Adams is an enforcer, and he's not looking to post up. And he's just looking to bang, get bored, set picks.
They got a few buckets in the flow of the game, but they don't run stuff for him.
And Steven Adams has been in the league a number of years now.
And making good money.
And
he'll be in the league a number more years.
If you can get a player of that caliber, that would be super cool. I don't know. So, yeah, I think there is a level of angst. Justifiably, I think, in my mind.
Is the tandem of Jaxson Hayes and Jusuf Nurkić good enough at center? Larry, the Laker, weighed in. Nope. Hayes is a great hustle guy, just limited skills.
Well, okay, and he's seen him because he's been on the Lakers.
Yes.
So Larry has a level of credibility because he's going to see Jaxson Hayes more than we've seen him.
I thought that was a fair assessment.
But that's a good assessment of his skill. I only need him to be a hustle guy. I need him to be, but I also need him to be a banger, and he's slight of built, and get in the way, clog up the middle.
He's the starting pitcher with a 4.2 ERA who eats innings.
But if I've got aces at the other spots who can really light it up, and I have 3 of the other 4 spots, I have the advantage.
Yep.
Maybe I can live with that. I mean, they're going to have to some extent.
Well, they are going to have to. I think that we can sit here, and it's really the only way to have the discussion about, hey, this guy could play 15 minutes or 20 or 25 or whatever. We can divvy up the minutes. I think it's going to vary wildly from night to night. I think there are nights when Jaxson wants no part of the center spot. Certainly not for 30, 35 minutes, whatever, full time. That's just...
You're going to go to Big Vic.
Wembayama, the Joker. Yeah.
Those are your 2 guys. I don't think the Joker is that big of a deal because offensively, he's a perimeter guy.
Right, but he can get people in foul trouble. And I think the combination of foul trouble and getting beat up and worn down, it's not that any one matchup is too much for Jaxson, but just getting worn down over time playing against the bigger bodies.
But there's not that many.
And I think that, the Steven Adamses of the world.
Oh, you're not going to get beat up by him.
I think you're underestimating the banging, the wear, and the tear. I think there are nights where he will play 20 minutes of center, and I think there are nights where he won't play any, and then he will play in the last 5 minutes with the game on the line.
And don't forget, they've got to guard him, too.
100%. So I do think the center by committee was shifting, every night what's going on. What are the matchups? And then what happens at the end of the game. I think we may see it more at the end of the game. We'll see how that plays out. Tony's like, I'll have to be okay with it for now. I'm sure we're not done with free agency, but I think JJJ will play a lot of center alongside Markkanen. So he's going back to Jaxson, too. Don't you think they're done in free agency at the center spot? They're not bringing in another big, are they?
If they can get someone.
Jonathan, no, I don't like it, but it'll do. You can't have all-stars at every position. That was going to be true whether or not we kept Walker. See, I think that goes back to your point about we've seen a lot of teams get by at center with less than the superstar. There was a time where there was like an 80, 90% chance you had to have a superstar at center.
Yeah, back when the running back was a big deal in the NFL.
That time's long gone, and the running back is coming back more than the dominant center is.
Only if he's good enough.
Right, but there seem to be more people who are good enough. But the dominant center, no. There are plenty of teams that have excelled with center by committee.
Most do.
Yes.
It's to the point where I have to go look at the roster.
See, Karl Anthony Towns is better than center by committee, but not dominant guy.
I don't even really think he's a center. He's not in the center in the manner of what we think of centers. He's a finesse player.
But he was able to defend Wemby and be physical with him. But again, that's a finesse player too, so it's easier to be physical. It's 2 finesse guys.
Yeah, Wemby at 21.
Right,
let's not forget. Wemby's best days
are in front
way
of him.
ahead of him.
You would think.
So the Knicks got him at the right time, and good for them.
But it was enough to get through all the other playoff series, too.
Yeah, and Jaren Allen and Mobley, those guys are finesse guys. They're not bangers.
There are not a lot of bangers.
The banger's a dinosaur. You run to the corner and shoot threes. Somebody says it. Do they even watch games anymore?
That's a great line.
Yeah, I watch games.
It's gotta be said
and I come in here
anonymously.
every 3 times a week and complain about it.
He wasn't talking about you either. He definitely was not talking about you.
So and the Jazz administration knows this. If you're going to be weak or not as good, if you want to be politically correct, and the non-winning team members will go first in the press conferences in colleges, not the losing team, the non-winning team.
The non-winning
They
team.
say that.
I know they do. And then people come in with really sad faces.
This is the position to be weak at. As long as you're good enough at the other positions.
Right. Get your Zubac or your Adams, your big banger, and call it good. Or get your skilled finesse player who can go out there and shoot threes. Which is really what the Celtics won with when they won with. They had a three-point shooter as center.
Yeah, and a guy like Pirtle, a serviceable center today, but a finesse guy.
Yeah.
Not a banger, but he can move.
Bounce
He can
around,
run.
but stay in the league. There's a market for him.
Yeah.
What does he care? He's getting paid.
Right.
Yeah.
He's going into
Go do your thing.
the last time the Huntsman Center was filled outside of the Summer League, and BYU was when Jakob played.
We're a decade down the road now.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing to think about. We are 3 coaches removed. And so if you can get somebody like him.
Joshua says Hayes could fit this team really well. Just hustle and play D. He was cheap. Trade for another big or draft one next year. But for now, well, this will enable you to re-sign Key and anybody else you need to. Push was definitely going to come to shove on the money front. And it still does. It's not like the money to sign. If Keontae George has a good year, if he has the year Jazz fans want and anticipate, they're going to have to make hard decisions to come up with the money to sign him. But they're certainly in better shape without Kessler.
Hard decisions to be
You
made
do.
because that
means guys are excelling.
Every team is facing that.
Yep. And that's why teams are getting pulled apart and it's hard to repeat.
But so what?
If you get your one.
But that's
Worry about
up
repeating
to
later.
management. That's the price you pay for success. That's no excuse. Every team has to deal with it if you're successful.
So scoop up some talent when the other team is letting the talent go. It's a problem, but it creates opportunity
But
also.
it's not unique to the Jazz.
It is not.
And
No,
so I'm
30
not going
teams
to cut them
across the board.
slack because they probably will be faced with that. Because that means you've won. And that means George had a
Your guys have excelled.
kick-butt fourth year. I want that for the young man.
Your guys have excelled, and people want to pay them.
Anybody who puts in the hard work, I don't care what field, what sport, what anything. If you work hard, I want you to succeed. I told that to Locke the other day. The D-News had a big story on his daughter. Did you see it?
I did not.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
look for it, though.
Yeah, about her doing the Raptors. She's doing the broadcast of the Nebraska-Utah game.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to Nebraska, right? And Locke came in and helped her. And his wife was down there.
Yeah, in the bowl game,
there. Yeah. And so he sees me, or actually his wife sees me walking down the hall, and they come and get me, bring me in. And I've known his daughter. Went to Mexico with them when she was way little, right? And so we're in there, and it's great. It's exciting, blah, blah, blah. And then they got to go do their game. I walk out, and the academic advisor is there. She follows me out.
For Nebraska.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spends 15 to 20 minutes telling me about this young lady, how hard she works, how she shows up at 8 o'clock class. She's fully engaged. She's put in all the time. She's done all the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there. She's just telling me this, right?
Yeah.
And because she wants to know how I got into what I did,
Yeah.
right? And so she's picking my brain and then proceeds to tell me about Locke's daughter, who's worked her butt off to get where she is, right? She's still a young gal and got a long way to go. But the work she put in. And then I see this story, and I knew she'd doing it and all, and blah, blah. I told David, I said, I love to see people who put in the work succeed because that's what it's about. And whatever obstacle you have, you either complain about it and don't do it, and the world goes on, or you overcome it and go ahead and do it, and the world goes on. The world's going to go on whether you put in the work or not. And you might as well put in the work, right?
Have you been talking to Pablo Mastroeni about this?
No. It's what they drilled in us at Thunderbird.
Well, it is, yes, clearly, because Pablo has this.
Yeah.
It's like he was literally telling me one day. He says, "The universe just keeps going.
Right.
You make whatever decision you make, and there's like a
Right.
15-foot pathway, and then there's a railing. There's a huge retaining wall down the field." He says, "If you decide to go run and throw yourself over that railing, well, they'll have a funeral for you, and the universe will go on."
Right. It goes on.
Yeah.
Now, and I acknowledge that some people have a much harder task to overcome the obstacles.
Yeah.
I get that completely.
Well, she has some built-in
But you gotta-
advantages. I mean,
sure.
her dad is an NBA play-by-play guy and give her
And that
tips.
helps.
Yeah,
But
right.
this academic advisor doesn't know that this is down the line, by the way. He's telling me all about this young lady, how hard she works. So if George is putting in the work, I want him to succeed if he's putting in the work. And they told us, and we listened to him talk, he did put in the work last year. And so now I expect him to put in the work this year, and I expect him to improve upon what he did last season.
Wow.
And if he puts himself in the position to get an outrageous contract, great. That's what it's about.
I assume he is putting in the work, because once you put in the work that we were all told about and you get the results that we all saw, why would you deviate from the plan at
You
that
wouldn't.
point?
It becomes addictive.
Yeah.
And you then, like people talk about, they go to the gym every day. And then if they don't go to the gym, it feels weird that they didn't go to the gym.
Right.
Because that's what they
They're
do,
getting
and they
the
put in
results.
the work, blah, 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 and away they go. So the Jazz know that, and they are going to be prepared for that. And however they'll deal with it, I want them, as long as you're dealing from a position of strength and you have to get rid of guys, okay, so be it. Hopefully for them, they've quenched the ultimate thirst like the Thunder did. What's the guy's name? Presti, the general manager? Yep. They haven't traded any of their nucleus yet, but if they have to, I brought you all a championship. So deal with it. This is the way it goes. Right? Okay.
And they will have to trade the nucleus at some point. They've finessed it so far, but those raises are going to keep coming, and they've got too many good players who'll be getting raises versus how fast the cap goes up. But they bought themselves time, another year, to go make another run at the title and figure it out and see if a young guy can emerge so they can move one of the expensive guys and still get the production out of somebody who's younger and less expensive.
Yeah,
That's
Dort
the
is
plan.
most likely. He's a free agent.
Yep.
Been in the league 7 years already. My gosh.
Where does time go, PK?
It really does just blow away. I would have liked to seen a guy like Drummond, but he already got scooped up. I don't know if there's anybody out there that really floats the boat as far as what they're looking for. So
I
as
think
we
they're
sit here
going-
right now,
yeah.
it looks like they're going to have to go with those guys.
Yep, that's what I think it's going to be. I'd be surprised. Maybe they got some rabbit they can pull out of the hat, but I think that I think we're looking at what the deal is going to be right here. Jared says Nurkić averaged 11 points and 10 rebounds. That's what Kessler averaged the full year he played. I think it's about sixes. At least it's not worth $20 million more to keep Kessler. I'll go with you on the $20 million more part, but the 11 points, 10 boards does not talk about the shot blocking, the shots altered, and the shots never attempted because he's intimidating.
You would think in this community they'd understand that because we had Rudy Gobert for many years. And Rudy Gobert, you're just going to judge him by his
Points and rebounds.
PTS and REB and B? No.
Nope.
That's not Rudy Gobert's value goes way beyond. And we saw it. I used to love to watch a kid coming down, turning the corner, and then, backing it out.
You can literally see that.
Yeah. And if you watch Gobert night after night like we all did, then you saw his value to the team. And there is not a stat when somebody turns the corner and is going to get baseline and then is going to create all sorts of havoc on the defense, but he backs it out because Gobert's there, and it's not going to end well.
And as much as basketball has changed and their rule changes and the three-point shot and on and on and on, we can go on with the changes, that's never changed. You can take that back to Gobert. You can take that back to Ostertag. You can take that back to Mark Eaton. It doesn't change.
Yeah,
Guys don't want to go in there.
Hesitant in putting Ostertag between guys like Eaton.
Oh, I get
and
it.
Gobert.
But I saw and I get that. Greg,
and he's a politician now, so I don't like him.
Greg came and went with his focus and his attention span. But the fact he was big. So, I mean, I can still see a guy dribbling down in front of the bench, is the visiting bench, and Greg's in the paint, and he drives in the paint, and he slows down, and he looks up and sees Greg, and he puts his head down and goes out and dribbles over to Larry King. I don't remember who the player was. I want to. I think it might have been.
But you remember the specific play.
I do remember the play.
Which tells you about Ostertag that there were too few that you remember.
The specific play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember any specific plays with Gobert because he did it 20 times a game.
He did.
Not 20 times a season.
But it never changes. It's not going to change, and they're going to miss that. And they've been a terrible defensive team, and they'll get better. But how much better? And how much better would they be?
I
with
get
only
why
Shotwalker?
they did what they did with Kessler.
Yep.
But there's two reasons that I'm disappointed he's not here. Is because he would have made the team better, and we would have had Miss America in our midst, the second Miss America in the borders of the state of Utah. What was Charlene Wells was the first one, right? Mm-hmm. She was Miss America, and I believe she still lives in the state. And I believe,
she did, as far as I know. I haven't heard enough yet.
No, I know.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Because I believe she got remarried, and I was told her husband's a sports fan and follows us.
Hello.
Yes, but I don't know the name.
Okay.
So I wanted a second because, and that lady, whoever she is, the Kessler's Miss America wife, obviously has got brains because she got engaged after he got the contract.
Nice.
That's genius right there.
DJ and PK coming up. Pete Sousa is going to join us. He covers the Big 12. It's Big 12 Media Days tomorrow and Wednesday. Cougars and Texas Tech tomorrow. Utes on Wednesday. Coaches, players, lots of thoughts. The first school you read on that list, super intriguing. Oklahoma State, last place, given up for dead. No pulse, no nothing. Now they get a new coach, they get a new quarterback. You're saying, they're coming in from North Texas. How good can they be? I don't know how'd that work for Indiana. Maybe they're pretty good.
You put Cal on the list of North Texas? Isn't Cal a little bit better?
No, I was talking about James Madison providing a lot of guys to Indiana. They did get a quarterback from Cal, but they were in the playoff the year before, and Mendoza was still at Cal. No, I'm not comparing.
I don't care where he's from. I compare how he plays.
Right. No, I'm not comparing Cal to North Texas. All right, we'll talk with Pete Sousa. He covers the Big 12. Get a head start on Big 12 Media Days, and we will do that coming up next. Big T Thurl Bailey joins us at 9 o'clock. We'll talk to him about Peterson's debut and the matchup tonight, Boozer and Peterson. It's the Grizzlies and the Jazz, 7 o'clock. David Locke on the radio call. Big T, Thurl Bailey, and Craig Bolerjack on the TV call. You can go to the game at the Huntsman Center. We'll talk with Thurl coming up at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, Pizza's the next. Stay with us.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Trust Top.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on the scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is the tune I was telling you about. It is the rage of country music. Ella Langley, choosing Texas. And we got Pete coming on. We'll find out if he's choosing Texas Tech.
Pete Sousa joins us. He covers the Big 12. Pete, good morning.
Hey, DJ PK. You know, it's funny. I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in Texas now. So it's a short trip tomorrow for me to the Star and Media Days. So, yeah, with that song rolling in, to Texas Pete here with you. I choose Texas. I choose Texas.
That song has caught the country world by storm. I think it's been like 12 weeks, number one or something like that. It's quite the popular tune.
And if they had any more of a reason to be proud around here in Texas, they have another one. Yeah, it's very, very popular in these parts too.
And you're from Philadelphia?
Yeah, right outside. I grew up right where Villanova University is. So that first win of the season last year for BYU was a tough one for me because it was a loss. I've always followed Villanova sports. My mom worked there, during the Raleigh Massimino era. I kind of grew up in the shadows of the university. So it was some good times.
So what was your Jersey Shore of choice? Was it Ocean City?
Avalon. And I never, we never, not like we were totally slumming it, but we never had a place down there. So I would go and hang with friends that had houses, maybe Avalon or Ocean City. But most of my time was spent in Avalon. I love the Jersey Shore. I miss it.
Me too.
There you go. Where are you from? What's your relationship with the Jersey Shore?
All right, sorry, people. We're not going to talk Big 12 today. PK's going down memory lane.
I was born in North Jersey. My sister went to Glassboro. I lived down in South Jersey for a bit, had a job at a slide at Ocean City. And I'm not sure all these years later how I ended up in Utah, but here I am.
Hey, well, Utah's amazing. That's why we're going to have to take this offline, though, and compare notes at some point. This is good. You got me excited now. Almost as excited as I am for tomorrow in Big 12 Media Days.
Well, you two can go offline there and during some downtime and compare notes. PK is going to be camped out for 2 days, so go to town.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to many things about Big 12 Media Day. One of them is the resurrection of Oklahoma State football. In this era of the transfer portal, how quickly can you turn things around? They were really good until they were really bad. How quickly can they be really good again?
I think there is a little bit of too much excitement or too much optimism on a national level. And I'm not saying by any means this is a lazy opinion even for me, because right away you think, oh my gosh, Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker, Caleb Hawkins, that trifecta can take this team. And are we looking at the next Indiana, right? I think that's why I say, at least myself, I got to pump the brakes a little bit, because when you look at some of the games that Mestamaker had last year, just some of that competition, it's far off from what he's going to be facing week in, week out in the Big 12. And Eric Morris is a brilliant coach, and he's bringing a lot of guys with him. But I'm very interested to see. This is, to me, one of the biggest or best litmus tests in the country to really see where we are right now, because this is a new frontier. We did see Indiana, and Curt Cignetti did it. Now, Curt Cignetti's elite, right? I'm not saying that Eric Morris is nearing that conversation, but I am saying I want to see more of this, right? More of these, whether it's Group of Five or FCS schools that collectively move up to a Power Four conference. I need a little bit more evidence, a bigger body of work to just be right away, oh, they're going to turn it around. The Big 12 is a damn good conference. And I don't know that you can just walk in there and be 8-4 or 7-5. I have them at 5-7, and that's still great because they didn't win one conference game last year.
Yeah, that's amazing that they fell off that much, and so pretty much anything will be an improvement. It's just a question of what level of improvement they will make. The Sorsby thing took over the country for a day or two or a week or so, and I'm wondering, what you think as far as what's it going to be as being addressed here, whether it's by Yormark or what's Texas Tech going to be in terms of their attitude with Joe McGuire. And I look at the players that they're bringing, and they did not bring a quarterback. They did not bring Hammond. And so I found that a little unusual. I know maybe he's rehabbing. I don't know. But I would have thought, because they bring, 6 guys or so and not a quarterback. How much of a story do you think that'll be?
It's going to have to be, talked about. It's definitely a storyline. We're going to interview, I'm there with the Big 12 and Raycom, and we're interviewing every coach of every team and players from every team. So we'll have an opportunity to talk to Joey McGuire about it. I think you have to address it and just do your job and ask the question if you're me. At the same time, I think that it's kind of a shrewd PR move not to bring Will Hammond, so he doesn't have to live in that for a couple of days or at least a day. I think that Brett Yormark may address it too, because you've got two groupings, right? Say what you want about Texas Tech, they're not afraid. They will talk about it. And Brett Yormark, I thought he was the one guy who was actually the big winner in this whole thing, because he didn't bend to Texas Tech. I mean, eventually, Brett Yormark in the Big 12 was the reason that Brendan Sorsby, and this is a shame, this stinks, but now he's kind of sidelined for this year, but that's a consequence. But all that being said, I think Will Hammond, I don't think it's that much of a drop-off. I think the number one question mark is Will Hammond's health. And from what I'm hearing, he'll be ready to go week 1. Initially, we thought, okay, maybe it's week 3, Houston. I have heard from folks in Lubbock, like, there's no way that would be his first snap, would be a conference game against Houston, and that he will be ready to play some of those non-con games. And if he's healthy, he's darn good. And I don't know that I think we gave a lot of life to the Sorsby situation because it was a very interesting story in it. And it says a lot about where we are in college sports and college football today with gambling and just the constant change. But Will Hammond's a really good quarterback. And I think that we'll be pleasantly surprised will Texas Tech fans be. And I think folks around the nation will just flat out be surprised. I don't think they'll drop off that much. The talent drop-off is like hardly anything. It's just a matter of, how well will he do physically, like a re-entry point into day-to-day, because that was a bad injury, and it was October, so it hasn't even been a year yet.
You mentioned Texas Tech, that conference opener week 3 with Houston. Houston's coming off a 10-3 season. They didn't play the Utes and Cougars. They did sweep the Arizona schools, so the back-to-back weeks, that's impressive. They got blown out by Texas Tech and lost to TCU. Are they paper tiger? Do you really think they're building something there? Can you put them in the top quarter of the league? What do you think?
I think you absolutely can put them in the top quarter of the league, and I think that Willie Fritz is a huge reason for that. I think that also when you see, the play of Connor Wegman last year, we finally got to see him, play a whole season healthy. That's a big deal. You talk to quarterbacks, and we just talked about Will Hammond and his health. Mental toughness, a lot of it comes from playing and being on the field. It sounds simple, but it's hard to stay healthy for these guys in a sport where it's just so brutal. And with Connor Wegman back, they got Amari Thomas back, a terrific wide receiver. Mekhi Lawrence is the running back. He was in at Tulane with Willie Fritz, and now he's back with Willie Fritz, now at Houston. They've got the weapons to keep it going. Now, the schedule is going to be more difficult, and I think it is. I think, even BYU, their early slate last year was really manageable, and they took advantage. And Houston was the same way, and they build momentum, build confidence. Well, now it's going to be different. You're going to have early tests. And, if you get knocked on your back in week 3, and beat up real good, how are you going to respond? So that game that we just talked about, I think you circle that one as an indicator as to where Houston's going to be. We'll find out early in the season. But I don't think they're a paper tiger. I think Willie Fritz is the real deal. And he was almost to a fault so patient as a coach. He was not like in a rush to get anywhere. So that's why he didn't really come on our radars till about 10 years ago. Spent a lot of time FCS and small Division I, and now here he is. And I think he's going to be here to stay. I believe people in Houston think there is a belief there that with all the success with college basketball and the influx of money to that university, not as much NIL as they would like, but better than it used to be. I think there's a confidence there. Like we may have something here for the whole athletic department, and Houston football is definitely a part of that.
We have some stability in the Big 12. We'll see how long it lasts, right? This is, the third year of these teams all being together. And the first year we had the Sun Devils. That's how I got west. I ended up moving to Phoenix and went to ASU, but if you're wondering. But anyway, so they were the big surprise. And I think last year, we can argue, you had at least a couple of surprises in Houston and Arizona, right? Because they were coming off horrible years. So if I were to ask you, which I will, obviously, which teams do you think can be a big surprise this year? So it would have to be somebody who is predicted to be in the bottom, whether it be Iowa State, Colorado. We mentioned Oklahoma State to a degree. Do you think there will be surprise one or two teams? And if so, who?
Well, I think the team that I have, it's funny, we gave, in order to prep for all these preview shows for each team, and it was a great exercise. I hadn't done this in a while. You go down and you just do everybody's record, and you kind of have to have, I'm terrible at math, but you have to have like a matrix feel, right? Like you can't say Houston's going to beat Texas Tech, when you're doing it on Tuesday, and then Thursday you're doing it and you're going through Texas Tech's schedule. It's like, oh, yeah, well, I can't say Texas Tech's going to beat Houston because, so you have to, for someone like me, that's not as easy as it sounds. So I had to make sure all that was in line. And once I figured that out, I looked down at my record and I said, wow, I have UCF at 8-4 or 7-5. And that is a school to me where, first of all, the state of Florida, they just have guys. Last year I was calling a UCF game, and Scott Frost was talking to us on a Friday, and he was describing a kid, and he said, he's just a Florida kid. And, you could tell he had an affinity for this young man. I said, well, what does that mean? He's a Florida kid. He said, dude, it means he loves football, will play all day, and it's what he was raised on. And that's one of the reasons he came back, because he knew it was a fertile ground. Like everywhere you turn around, you've got another Hoss, right, that you can recruit. So there's that at UCF, right? And then you've got Alonzo Barnett, who is a quarterback coming over, was at JMU last year in the college football playoff. And really the rhythms of the JMU offense, not dissimilar to what they're doing at UCF. And I believe UCF could be primed for, they're not going to go undefeated, right, like they did in Scott Frost's first tour of duty, but they got dudes. And I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. I like them a lot to be a surprising team in the Big 12. And look, I thought that was a great point about the stability. And by the way, I knew the Arizona State story because I'm curious. I've asked questions before.
Okay.
But because that is a neat little thread. But no, I think that UCF is a team that will surprise a lot of people. And I think it's going to be fun. I think the stability is cool in the Big 12. This is like only the second year where we're not introducing a new team to the rest of the conference. But UCF is a team that I think we will be looking at late in the season towards the top of the conference.
Okay.
Arizona had been down for so long. They were kind of an afterthought. That was a good year for them last year. Do you think they back it up?
It was a great year. I think that the schematics on defense will be huge for Arizona because as well as they played last year, they lost a bunch of guys to the draft. Your quarterback could be one of the more overlooked, and you could maybe say physically, no pun intended. And part of the reason he doesn't get props, I think, is because Noah Fafita is 5'10", but he's about to be the all-time leading passer in Arizona history. And, I think he'll pass Nick Foles, right, to break that record at some point this year, you would think, God willing, for him. It's just kind of a matter of staying healthy. But what Brett Brennan has done as far as infusing confidence into his entire roster, like a belief of winning. They ended last year really hot. Now, defense had a lot to do with that. So their ability to maintain or sustain success defensively will really dictate a lot of their success. But the pieces are there. The excitement is there. I grew up, I love the Desert Swarm. I mean, Dick Tomey, it's there. It's there for Arizona. People really care in Tucson as well. But this is a huge year for them. I totally agree to build on last year, but I believe they can do it.
We want to see the Big 12 succeed as a conference as much as possible, and it's been a little bit of a bummer that they haven't gotten two teams into the playoff. Do you think that there'll be the two teams that are left standing when we get to December? Will at least one of them have a bid already secured and don't necessarily need to win the conference title game?
Absolutely. And I think it's good news for folks, that follow BYU. I think that the Notre Dame game on BYU's schedule is huge this season because I think Notre Dame's going to be really good. I think the fact that they're playing in Provo gives BYU every opportunity not only to win that game or to make it at least a one-score game. And then when I look at the rest of BYU's schedule and I see 13 starters coming back, I feel very good about the Cougars going like 11-1 in the regular season. And I have Texas Tech going undefeated. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. These are just, this is just a vibe I have with all the information that we've gathered and the, reporting basically and coverage I do. But I think those two teams have a very good chance at making the college football playoff. And I think that this could be the year that they do it. And I think that the non-con opponent like Notre Dame, because Texas Tech's schedule is just not tough. And I would, if you haven't done it yet, just go game by game. It's tough to find a loss there, even without Brendan Sorsby. I mean, if Sorsby was healthy this year, I saw Brett McMurphy. I read this, but it was an eye-opener that, Texas Tech was going to be a 2-touchdown favorite in all its conference games. So you would imagine they would still roll. That's why they play the game. Upsets happen. But I have Texas Tech and BYU both making the college football playoff. And I think I just gave some good reasons why.
When you do that week-by-week thing, when you get to week 2, there's a lot of big, high-profile non-conference games there. Arizona State's at Texas A&M. Missouri is at Kansas. Iowa State is at Iowa. Texas Tech's at Oregon State. I either see wins for the Big 12 that aren't impressive, Texas Tech at Oregon State. No one's going to give them a lot of credit for that. Or I see the Big 12 in trouble. How's the league going to make a big splash? Or they're not going to. It's just going to be one or two teams are going to pile up wins, and that scenario, which you just laid out, is really the path for the Big 12.
Yeah, I believe that is the path. I don't want to say like the conference is top heavy, but when we talk about the playoff, right, we're talking about a 12-team playoff right now, and and I do totally agree. I think that Arizona State at Texas A&M, I'm like, oof, that could be rough. That's just on paper. That's what just jumps off the page at me. I do think Kansas and Missouri. I think Kansas is due there. And I think that Kansas could be a team that surprises a little bit. They got to figure out exactly what's going on under center. But I again, it's so interesting because that's why football is the best sport, in my opinion, because it's almost like every week you're getting ready to go on vacation, right? Like you see who your team is playing and you talk about it all week and you get excited. And then Friday comes and you get in the car and you're headed off to this vacation destination. Now, sometimes the vacation can be a total flop, right? Your team can get whacked. But afterwards, you talk about that amazing or tough vacation, and then you're talking about the next one. And I think that as fans, we get so hyperbolic about, the Big 12 lost a bunch of non-con games, to SEC opponents or opponents from other conferences. But at the end of the year, we're not necessarily talking about that anymore. I feel like that's more of a pride thing. At the end of the year, because you mentioned it will be unimpressive wins either way. So down the stretch, though, it's like, where are you standing and do you win? Does your conference win? Again, like I talked about, like, can BYU beat Notre Dame? Because I don't think Arizona State can beat Texas A&M. But I do think BYU can beat Notre Dame. And I think that ultimately the postseason then gives you an opportunity. Like, I'm not saying it was an embarrassment, but I'm kind of like you guys. I want to see the conference do well. It was a total bummer to see Texas Tech get blanked last year. Like, that was just a bummer. And I do think this conference, as it grows, like Texas Tech was not a one-year wonder. And I appreciate the fact that they should be back in the college football playoff with the chance to atone. Can BYU be there too? Absolutely.
Do you think Yormark and the conference need to do a better job of politicking? Because it seemed like he low-keyed it in terms of pushing for BYU to get in.
Yeah, I do a little bit. I think there's something to be said there. One of the best parts about Brett Yormark is that he's not a Yahoo. Honestly, like, he's not going to tell you the sky is purple. That's just not how he rolls, which you appreciate, which makes him more measured. And honestly, if you look at what he was working with when he got to the Big 12 and where it's at now, I think he's done the best job of any commissioner in college sports. Now, that being said, sometimes you need somebody to pound their chest for said team, and that's just not his personality. he tries to do it more from a strategy standpoint. Long term, I ride with Brett Yormark anywhere, but I definitely could see how someone is like, hey, why isn't he going all in, 10 toes down, as the kids say, for our team to make the college football playoff? I agree with you there. I definitely see the point there, but I don't think he'll ever do that.
Two disappointments: him not selling BYU and selling 2 football bids for the league harder. I mean, maybe be selling that even before you know who the teams are. Yeah, and then on top of that, the glass court thing at the conference tournament, that wasn't good.
Okay, but let's go. Here's the glass tournament thing. The glass floor thing, because I was boots on the glass, I guess you could say, for that one. But I was calling the American tournament, and then all that stuff happened. I got back to Texas, and the court was gone. Which you got to give them credit for that. Like to do an about face and to eat it, I thought was impressive. But at the end of the day, you could look at the totality of the situation and say, well, maybe that was a little too aggressive with the glass court. Yeah, but I swear, Yormark has done, in my opinion, a tremendous job. Tremendous.
When you go down the shore, don't you love a good pork roll?
I love a good pork roll. I love Mac and Manco's pizza. I like cheesesteaks too. I like it all, and I like the beach too. I miss it here. I'm around a bunch of lakes in Texas, which I love Texas, but I miss the waves for sure. You guys are lucky. Enough. At least you're close out there. Yeah.
See, the thing about growing up in California is the beach was free. I don't know about this beach tags thing. I can't wrap my brain around that.
It drives me crazy. It drives me bananas.
Just ask the people
it drives me
Newport
bananas.
Beach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a grown man. I'm walking onto your beach. What's going to go down? What am I planning on doing? Am I going to set up a tent there and stay the week? No, I just want to come enjoy the beach. I'll tell people how great it was. Let me hang. I agree.
Yeah. Pete, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. As always, you and PK can spend a couple days comparing notes in Texas.
I'm looking forward to it. Guys, thank you so much. PK, I will see you at the Star, baby.
Okay.
Give you some. All right, thanks, Pete.
Choosing Texas, I can tell.
Big T. Thurl Bailey joins us at 9 o'clock. Big game for the Jazz tonight. Jazz and Grizzlies. Cam, Boozer, Darren Peterson, the number 2 and number 3 picks in the draft playing tonight. We'll talk with Thurl about Peterson's debut. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Lloyd just spent the commercial break in the studio planning the coverage for the next 2 days. Some of the details, not planning the coverage, but wrapping up some of the details, PK. Just feel the juices get flowing. College football.
Every freaking year. Close. That's why I'm still doing this.
See?
I could go off to some castle. I've got affluence, but I don't because I'm here to serve the people. I mean, I ain't going to do it in my 80s like these politicians.
What castle would you go off to?
Montezuma.
I love it. Sedona reference. Nice. Just go right back to the Grand Canyon State.
When that time comes, I want to spend a fair amount of winters in the Grand Canyon State, yes. And I don't want to spend any summers there.
Right. But not winter in Sedona. Too much elevation. It snows in Sedona. Well,
Very
it did.
little.
I don't know if it still does.
Little, but I'm going to be in the desert. But I'm jacked every time this year. I can't hide it. I can't hide anything for that matter. I can bluff my way through some stuff.
How good are the Utes and Cougars?
I think we're in for a great season.
Texas Tech, obviously good. Houston, Arizona, who else?
This is a quality conference. I think there can be up to 10 teams that can spin it. We had a good season. The problem becomes then, can you build on that because you don't know with the transfer portal?
You can't really put it together. Your guys get ripped off because other people have more
Brown
money.
has a breakout year, rushes for over 1,000 yards for the Sun Devils, and he's going to look good in the burnt orange. And
gone.
Yeah. And that sucks.
But if you don't have the NIL money, it's how it's going to work.
You have the NIL money, but you don't have it compared to Texas.
Right. Don't have it to that degree.
And he's choosing Texas.
Sing it. I don't know. Alex got that. 10 teams? Because I'm looking, I can see 6 teams had a good year.
No, I said spin it. They had a good year.
Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, Arizona
Oklahoma
State.
State goes 4-8. They can spin it. They had a good year.
You're going forward. I was looking back at like who was spinning.
You're always looking back. I'm looking forward.
Oklahoma State can, Colorado. So, yeah, the team's coming out of the depth of the league.
Yeah.
All right, well, the spinning starts tomorrow.
For sure.
All day long, right here on the Zone.
The
Lock
only
it down.
freaking station in the state that's going to be local from 7 freaking a.m. to 6 p.m. Get out of my face.
DJ PK, Big T Thurl Bailey joins us next. Stay with us.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.